Welcome to Democracy 2018. Joining us now is the 7th District Congressman, Andre Carson, the Democrat. You are seeking re-election, sir.
Yes, sir.
We have a lot of viewers who have a lot of questions
Sure.
about what's happening in our country. Among them is the issue of health care. Do we call it Obamacare? Do we call it Trump care? Many of our viewers are confused as to what this thing even looks like as we move forward, what was known as the Affordable Care Act. How do you see it? What do we call it, and how do we move forward on health care?
I think what we have is not expansive enough. I'm for a single payer system. I'm for Medicare for all, if you will. I think that some of my Republican colleagues who are trying to dismantle the Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare, it's a step in the wrong direction. I have to remind them constantly, because many of them are well-meaning. They're hurting their own constituents in urban centers, in rural America. Some of them are even hurting their own parents and loved ones.
And when you say a single payer, can you explain that for someone that may not understand that? Is that the Medicaid? Is that everyone goes through the same government program? Just how do you see that?
So there are different approaches to a single payer system. The best example I could give is Medicare, or even Medicaid. Either program, particularly Medicare, where you have one service provider, you have one entity distributing health care. Now, some would say that would take competition out of the system and cause dysfunction and stoppage. I think it's efficient. We're the wealthiest nation in recorded history. The wealthiest nation in recorded history should be able to provide her citizens with free and accessible health care.
And I want to clarify my terms. Medicaid is the state program. Medicare is the federal program that can transfer around. I just want to make sure people understand. So
this is true, and Medicaid has an income restriction.
Sure. When it comes to the issue of just the way we're talking about these issues, another viewer wants to know about civility in politics. They believe that Congress overall, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that you folks, the discussion is just simply incivil. It is not a civil discussion.
That's very true. There was a time, as you know, Mr. Sanchez, where you'd turn on TV, you'd see Democrats and Republicans having these robust debates, and after the debates are done, they'd go out for drinks, their families knew each other, they'd go out for dinner together. We've gotten away from that, and I think in many ways, look, I've had 5 bills passed since I've been in Congress, and it's because Republicans have helped get them through. I just worked with Susan Brooks on making Kennedy King a national commemorative site. We need Republicans and Democrats to work together, but we have to demystify what it means to be in Congress. We're representatives. I don't go to work wanting to be called congressman. I go to work with a deep sense of responsibility, and I know that responsibility requires me to work on the other side of the aisle.
But we hear that a lot. So how do you make that work? Because you know it's very divisive. We are permanently now either a blue state or a red state. In Indiana, we've tried the whole purple thing.
Sure.
But we are really red, and only in certain sectors of our state, like the 7th District, right, do we see a Democrat. We have another Democrat, Mr. McCloskey, up in northern Indiana. But
hopefully we'll have more.
And you may have more, but the point is, of course, you know the dynamics. So how do you become, how do you have that, how do you build that cooperation when you don't have to, right? We're so gerrymandered that you could say whatever you want.
That's not true. Well, unlike some of my friends in San Francisco and Minnesota, they can do a lot of things we can't do. In 2014, we got 52% of the vote. That's very close. In 2016, we got near 60. So I never take this thing for granted. I work as if I'm 20 points behind. When they did redistricting, kind of almost in a spiteful way, they wanted to give us the entire South Side. I went to football. I played football with those guys. I used to rap with some of those guys. Some of my closest friends to this day are drag racing down Madison Avenue. And what I discovered from that experience as a teenager and now as an adult, regardless if you're white, black, rich, or poor, most people want the same thing. They want better schools, they want safer communities, and they want jobs.
If you get reelected, there's talk, if there is such a thing as the blue wave, and we have no idea whether there will be a blue wave, which means Democrats will take control of the House, or a red wave, they will retain control of the House. There is a talk, if there is a blue wave, that the Democrats may begin an impeachment process against the president. Are you there? Are you thinking about impeaching President Trump?
Well, the constitutional standard is high crimes and misdemeanors. If that standard is met, then I'm open to the discussion. But until then, we have a president who has a background in development. You would think that he would propose a public works program at the very least, or an infrastructure bill. I want to work with the president after Democrats regain the House in introducing an infrastructure package that could create jobs for the next 10, 15, even 20 years.
But are you for impeaching the president?
If he meets the high crimes and misdemeanor standard, absolutely.
This president has proposed tariffs.
Sure.
Against a number of countries. Some of those tariffs, whether you're a farmer or someone in the technology industry, the people are concerned.
Sure.
But there's also some that say, look, this is an America first situation, so take it or leave it. Tariffs are meant to make America stronger. How do you see the issue of tariffs? Is it a silent tax, or is it about an issue of making America great again?
I think it's a bit of both. Look, I'm an America first now, so much so that my pack is called America Now. I think that when you have these high tariffs and you have these frayed relationships with these countries, feelings are going to get hurt and they're going to penalize us. Look at China. So I just had this conversation with our district director. You know, it's one thing for Americans to feel good about having an extra few dollars back for taxes, but it's another thing to have to pay a $50 extra on that washing machine or that dryer you want to purchase. And that's where it slowly creeps in, and ultimately it impacts how we purchase online and how we purchase when we go to Best Buy.
The issue of immigration. There was a lot of talk that Mexico would pay for the wall. In your chamber, most recently there's been talk about introducing another bill to fully fund the wall.
Sure.
So, do you support the wall? Is Mexico going to pay for it? What do we do about this issue of a serious issue of national security, of illegal immigration, and is that wall necessary?
Short answer, I don't support the wall. However, I do think that there needs to be barriers in place. But we've just seen there's a tunnel. There are many tunnels. There are hundreds of tunnels. Some of them even have tracks underneath these tunnels. So the wall isn't working. We need to address the reason why folks want to come over here and risk their lives to get here. And we're talking about corruption in government. We're talking about the lack of economic opportunities. We're talking about places where families aren't safe because drug cartels are controlling these areas. If we get to the root causes of these problems, and I think the Mexican government, as it's changing, it's a growing democracy, they can work with us in resolving many of these serious issues.
People are concerned about whether their vote will count. They know they're going to go vote.
Sure.
Right? But all this talk of the Russia collusion investigation and all the things on social media, will my vote count? Have we done enough to make sure that the election results and the processes are valid, are good, will sustain any kind of a hacker?
Well, we have great efforts from our clerk Mila. We have Kate Sweeney Bells, our county chair, and John Zodi at State Party. The beauty is that our system is decentralized. Technology hasn't gotten that far ahead of us where we can't be preemptive in preventing collusion. At least we can mitigate it. But one thing, there's a silver lining in that blockchain technology is increasing, so we're having great conversations about what that means. We don't want to have a system that's so impenetrable that we can't catch child sex traffickers and drug dealers. But we do want a system that is secure where we can protect our votes and make sure that people can feel confident about going to the polls.
But are you confident that that vote in November will be the vote, the voice of the people?
Yes, I am, and it will be. So the Russians are skillful at playing the influence game. So their biggest platform has been social media. Their largest platform has been creating these fake sites, these fake activist sites to influence the electorate and how they think and how they approach particular candidates. So this is an influence game that we have to understand the power rests with the people, not some mysterious Illuminati. It rests with you and me, Rafael.
The 7th District is a job you wish to retain
as
U.S. Congressman. Why you? Why not someone else?
That's a great question. I've been in the office for a couple of years now, and we've been able to have over 5 pieces of legislation signed into law. It usually takes a member of Congress 20, 25 years to get 1, maybe 2. We've been able to do more than that, and I take this job very seriously. In Congress, I'm a young man. I'm only 43. In Congress, I'm like an embryo, given the age piece. I don't want to be here 100 years. But as long as I'm here, I want to have an impact. I want to make sure that we're engaging baby boomers. We're engaging Generation Xers. We're engaging millennials and Generation Y to let them know that they do have a representative democracy and their representative is working hard for them.
7th District Congressman Andre Carson, thank you so much
for
your time.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget to vote.
That's right.
In November, and that concludes Democracy 2018, a conversation with Congressman Andre Carson. Sir, thank you so much.
Always an honor.
Thank you.